At least they can be remembered the way they're supposed to be now. This will be there to let people know what happened. I kind of go into it knowing that there's somebody behind every stone we do. My standards, I keep them pretty high, so I'm really picky. There's something under there that shouldn't be there. A lot of family members said they have their people moved all the way back then, but I wonder how many of them are still around. I'm sure some. Hopefully this makes them a little more at ease.
You don't usually see this much lettering on anything, but then again, this is more of like a
medium.
Yeah, because it's in the public eye. It's not like a regular standard, family monument or something like that.
They have to be recognized in one way or another. It's a lot of people to be removed from their permanent burial site. Kyle cleans the stencil filler off.
Well, we have an orange degreaser that we put on it, and it just strips away at the adhesive.
And then when it's all said and done, you'll have a very clean, bright panel with a polished border around it. This is actually a piece of evidence that they were moved now. So that's kind of how I viewed this one. This is important because of that reason, so people will know. The New York State Authority pushing through that railroad there, I don't like that. If it's designated as a cemetery, it's untouchable in my eyes. You shouldn't touch it. It gives them some closure, I like to think, so that they can move on and remember the person instead of having to worry about the actual whole thing surrounding that person's passing. I think this is kind of like the closing chapter of it. I like to think that the stones are like the first step to feel better so you can remember them, the way you want to remember them.
This week's City Shaper is a professional skater who's using her skills to help others.
My name is Elizabeth O'Donnell, and my title is I'm the founder and president of Gliding Stars. I grew up in Buffalo, and I currently live now in Hamburg.
Elizabeth O'Donnell started Gliding Stars more than 40 years ago, inspired by her childhood best friend's brother, who was nonverbal. It's ice skating for people who are challenged by any type of disability.
I toured with the Ice Capades. I was in the World Professional Championships many years ago as a pro. And so skating I've done forever and ever, and I realized as a young adult that it might be helpful for people with disabilities to learn how to skate.
Gliding Stars has grown to include thousands of families with chapters in 5 states.
What's it like to see somebody just open up and their world comes alive when they get on the ice?
It makes your heart just flood with joy. It's really cool. And sometimes on the sling walker, a little kid will come that's never been able to move on their own. And the ice is slippery, so there's a viscosity of ice that's very different than the ground. And they'll get in this walker, which completely supports their weight. We call it the sling seat. Their little toe picks will get in the ice, and all of a sudden, their little face goes, and they never moved before on their own. People are always moving them. That's really fun.
What's the reaction like from the families?
Hope. They have a sense of hope again. Because it's hard. I mean, the families, they have these kids that go through surgery after surgery, and it's really hard for them, So I have a lot of empathy for those families, and I'm happy to be able to help them in some way.
Elizabeth organizes fundraisers throughout the year and the Big Ice Show in the spring. She also has an equipment company. Rinks across the country buy her walkers to make skating accessible to everyone.
What kind of advice do you have for somebody who wants to do what you're doing?
Go for it. Find something that speaks to your heart, and just don't be afraid.
With this week's City Shaper, Kelly Dudzik, Channel 2 News.
He is a good boy. He really is a good boy. I got really lucky, because if you adopt a dog, you really never know.
It's not normal to have the chance to go on board one replica of the ship from 500 years ago. This is a good way to know a piece of history of our country and your country, I think that ship is two ships, okay? When we are in port, when we are dock, we work like a museum. So all the deckhands, including me, the captain, we are here for the guests, to explain how we live, how we work, telling stories to the visitors.
They steer with this, yeah.
We work one day and then we have one day off. For us, it's very important to improve our English, and so the people are giving us a good opportunity because the people want to speak with us and we need to improve it. We try to speak with the hands or something, and the person who was is like trying to teach us English.
New areas, you know, to find.
And second part is when we are sailing. When we are sailing, it's like a normal ship. In that moment, we are sailors. We are a team.
We sleep in a bedroom with 15 bunk beds.
Sleep in the banks. How I feel? It's really hard to explain because sometimes my neighbor in the bank is snorkeling. How do you say in English? Snorkeling? So he's snoring and boom, hit you and you stay like this.
We are brothers and sisters with different mothers and with different fathers.
This is like a summer camp for adults.
Lacing up their boots and hitting the trails, John Klatt and his sister Mary Schlabach prepare for an adventure, one that almost didn't seem possible.
Any cancer diagnosis is tragic and life-changing, and so it was for me as well. The doctor who initially diagnosed my condition gave me 3 or 4 years to live. That was 3.5 years ago.
John is in remission, but as he describes it, he's not out of the woods, since right now there is no cure for the type of blood cancer he battled. John and Mary want to change that with each stride. They're taking part in a program called Moving Mountains for Multiple Myeloma.
Well, it's 3 days in Iceland, hiking a good 8 to 10 hours a day.
And it's hard to explain, but it was kind of a spiritual experience that I felt compelled that I needed to go to Iceland to share this event with other people who are survivors, doctors, caregivers.
The money they raise goes to research, and the duo is working hard to get ready.
For Iceland, we need to be ready for all seasons, so we have our outer rainproof jacket, we have hat and gloves, we have a puffer layer.
They're also hiking 4 to 6 miles on a regular basis.
What's it like for you to be able to do this, not only for your brother, but also with him? It's absolutely amazing. When John got the diagnosis of multiple myeloma, family pulls together in the tough times, which we did. But I get to be with John during a victorious time, a mountaintop experience.
John says he does have fears about the trip, but he knows the ability to take it on is a blessing.
This cancer has been an opportunity to deepen my relationship with myself, my own mortality. I have no choice but to recognize the fact that, hey, yes, we get to live this life, and it's a good one, but it doesn't last forever.
Jackie Roberts, Channel 2 News.
I'm going to jump on my bike and ride it to the Maine coast.
Jason Zora may be done fighting fires.
I worked 23 years for the Buffalo Fire Department. I retired in January as a captain.
But he's certainly not done rescuing those in need. He'll be taking off the first week of June on a 540-mile bike ride from Lockport to Maine.
I'm going to go across New York State along the Erie Canal. And once I get to Amsterdam, I'll head up north to Saratoga Springs, go across the Green Mountains into Vermont, New Hampshire, and then Maine.
But this is not his first rodeo.
This is my third long-distance trip.
Zora has logged more than 2,700 miles for local charities. This year, he's raising money for the Response to Love Center in Buffalo.
She does a soup kitchen that obviously feeds homeless people, but not just homeless, needy families.
He will bike 50 to 60 miles a day for 9 days with
tent, my sleeping pad, sleeping bag, a cook kit, rain gear, tarps, tools to fix my bike.
Biking more than 500 miles is not easy, but the most challenging part?
My biggest challenge is going to probably be boredom.
Though he's doing the ride solo, he has his mascot, a buffalo, something he found in a vacant house fire to remind him of home.
You have those moments of clarity where you just figure everything out and appreciate what you have.
Zora hopes to do a coast-to-coast journey one day, but for now, doing those 540 miles, he's got a constant reminder of why he's doing it.
Those are lyrics from a Grateful Dead song. So they mean a lot to me. It's my, inspiration's going to move me on this trip.
Leanne Stock, Channel 2 News. So who is this?
This is Bindiroo. Bindiroo is an 8-month-old red kangaroo.
Laura Kegels is the manager of Spirit Wind Farm in Niagara County. Her farm has more than 100 animals and has been traveling as a petting zoo to local events for more than 20 years. But recently she found an Australian favorite was capturing the hearts of Western New York.
About 3 years ago, we got into the kangaroos, and it's been such a hit with the public that we've kind of wanted to focus on that.
These roos are hoping to put a little extra profit in their pouch. Laura is hopping on over to a new adventure, launching Niagara County Down Under.
And what it'll be is approximately 2 acres of an Australian-themed enclosure where people can go right in with our mob of kangaroos, all of them, sit with them, hang out with them.
It's a kangaroo petting zoo. Tours or groups of people can schedule a time to visit with more than a dozen kangaroos at the farm. She hopes they'll bring as much joy to everyone as they do her girls. And the farm just got 2 baby kangaroos that are both 8 months old. They'll stay inside and be bottle fed till they can go outside with the rest of the mob. The news of the Australian wildfires hit Laura hard. She hopes to use some of her profits to give back.
It's so sad. I'd like to do a percentage of, our income when we start to open. We'll always donate to conservation of these guys.
Laura says the most common question she's asked, how do they withstand a Western New York winter?
These guys are purchased from, facilities around the United States. They're all captive bred and raised here. It does get cold in Australia. They do get snow. These guys do adapt well to it.
Niagara County Down Under is expected to open in early summer. Leanne Stock, Channel 2 News.
Why do you really like eating shirts and stuff?
You guys are awesome. You guys are so...
It's all about saving lives. And that's basically what it does, is it gets the community to come in, see what we have available at a reduced rate. Sometimes that makes a difference to people, that reduced rate. It's a nationwide event called Clear the Shelters. And what it is it's a promotion to help shelters move animals along.
People who decide to shop and adopt at nonprofits are really what keeps us running. Especially a lot of nonprofits, they don't get a lot of funding. The funding is through the adoptions.
In lieu of the adoption fee, they just bring an item in and they can adopt a pet.
It gives an opportunity for hundreds of animals that are still in our care to find their forever homes. We take in thousands of animals each year, and we put in a lot of medical and care for all of them, so we want to make sure that they all find a perfect fit.
They're spayed, they're neutered, depending if they're a boy or girl, and they're dewormed, they have distemperament, ear cleaned, and then microchipped also.
Because animals don't do well in a shelter environment. They do best in a home, and we're constantly trying to find all of the animals in our care their forever home.
Every animal that leaves here and goes to a new home is a win for us here at the shelter. And I always tell everybody that working at a shelter is like riding a roller coaster. So when they go out the door to a happy home, that's a win. That's a good thing.
He's the heart of the Bills Mafia. He's the face of the franchise here.
Oh, some great people here. They all dress up and came out for Poncho and bring everyone and a fan camaraderie. It's a great thing.
A lot of these guys don't even have personal relationships with him or know Ezra. They all know Poncho, and they're still coming out and paying their respects. And so it means so much to us as players to know that the city supports things that we care about.
Viva los Bills! We love you, brother.
Buffalo Bills are, of course, known for their fans. And he's the main fan. He's the guy. He's the symbol, really, of Buffalo, I like to think.
For Poncho, solely for Poncho, for his and his family, to remember him and have a candlelight vigil for one of the best fans I know and one of the greatest person I know.
You can fight through anything, and he showed us that. He showed us that you could fight through this and bring a community together and know that you do have people around you that you can reach out to that, touches your lives.
Let's go, Buffalo! I think we owe Poncho a lot. He really did a ton for Buffalo. To choose the Bills was the best thing that could ever happen in this city. We're very lucky that he chose Buffalo. I think he's equal with the chicken wing. You know, it's I'll throw that out there. I think he's equal with the chicken wing.
I love you, Pancho, and I miss you already. And
Yes,
go
we
Bills!
do! Go
Go Bills! Pancho!